It's not easy getting vintage, man. You gotta be in there sweating, and you gotta have a passion for it to really be doing it, because it's tough.
David Mars at Vagabond Vintage, San Marcos, Texas.
How's it going, man? My name's Zar. Right now we're at TDK.
I'm Pinky, and I'm the manager of Monkeys. I've been working here for like 3 years. As a kid, I always went to thrift shops and got my clothes from garage sales and secondhand, so it was just like part of my upbringing. And I love the thrill of like finding treasures that no one else has. And so that's just carried on into my adulthood.
But started out import business with my brother. My brother saw something on TV that you could take Levi's to overseas, London and whatnot, and after that we just fell into vintage.
So streetwear, man, it's always evolved throughout the years. We've always been a streetwear boutique from the start, a one-stop shop. Streetwear always evolves from graphic designing to cut and sew, and now the introduction of vintage coming back. So that's a big one. It takes a lot of work. The team, they love all the fashion, bro. So they'll go out. We go to the bodegas, bro. Back home, we started off in Laredo. So like back home, it's border town. There's a lot of spots like that to dive in pretty much and try and find gems. It's a little difficult because I mean, there's mountains of clothes everywhere, and you're going through everything trying to find those rare pieces that actually hold value. And of course, I mean, vintage, it goes through some wear and tear, so you want to find the better pieces. You want to find the pieces that are more intact, that are not torn in half, that still have the graphic, but you can tell that it's a faded piece. It has the old school tag.
I mean, vintage has never been more popular now just because of that, just because of apps and whatnot, social media, influencers. I would say influencers in the sense of, I would say, sports or musicians, that kind of stuff, not other people. But yeah, it is getting really weird because there's like what I call a lot of Instagram kids. That may be a slur, but everybody with a phone is like, I gotta shop now, and then everybody thinks they can be in this business. So every brick and mortar person like me, there's thousands of people that I literally have to compete with. And sometimes where I source stuff, they bump it up so ridiculous that it's like, it's hard for me to do my job. But I'm still not hurt.
It's cool. The good is that people are buying secondhand, which means like less polluting and waste for the earth, and hopefully less stuff going into landfills. However, it's like a double-edged sword with like these people that are, I think it's called like thrift shop gentrification, where people are going into like thrift stores, taking all the good stuff and then flipping it on Depop for like 4 times the price, like ridiculous amounts. So like that's an issue that comes with that I've seen. But I think for the most part it's mostly good to buy secondhand versus like going to H&M or Zara, where they literally use child slave labor to make their clothes. So
it's the same thing with the sneakers, man. The whole retro cutaways, the whole retro feel of each shoe. It's the same thing with the fashion, with the clothing. It's the same cycle coming back now. So shoes, you want to get that pair from the 90s that had the Nike Air in the back. You want to get that old school colorway. Same thing with the vintage clothing. Now you want to get those old school graphics, those new different box tees that you can't find no more because every company now does totally different garments. So it's just having that feel for that old retro vintage piece, man.
Vintage is great, man. I'm just glad it's super popular, and I hope everybody continues down this, man, because I love what I do. And I think it makes everything more unique, and it cuts away from fast fashion. We all know that. We're recycling stuff, and it's a positive all around.
I mean, a lot of us can go into our closets, bro, and we already own vintage pieces that we probably not aware of. You go into your pop's closet, you go into grandpa's closet, and you find concert shirts that aren't made anymore. Concert shirts that are 20, 30 years old, and those pieces are very valuable nowadays. That's a big plus. I mean, I can't think about something negative about it. Being a fashion lover myself, bro, I find the beauty in all things possible.